Take a breath.
Do you need a vape?
Do you need a vape?
Yes.
Okay, take a breath.
No, I don't need a vape.
Oh, okay,
I'm good.
great,
I'm good.
okay.
I'm breathing, babe.
Oh my
I'm
God,
here.
okay.
I'm alive.
I'm not. I
I have oxygen.
I've
I
not
have
taken a
water.
breath all day.
Me either, actually.
Have you ever had that where you're like rolling on Adderall and you realize you're like, I don't think I've taken an inhale in like 20 minutes.
And those are the best days. Literally today at work, I was sitting at my desk and in front of the whole office, I was like, I'm overdosing on Adderall today. I was like, I have shit to do. And anything that comes in my fucking path, I will burn it the fuck down. Like, I was like, I have things that I didn't get anything done. Didn't get anything that I actually needed to get done, and just argued with people all day.
Those are the most excruciating days, in my opinion, where you're like rolling balls on Adderall and you're like, there's so much to do, but it feels like there's so many roadblocks.
Yeah.
And you just want to scream.
Yeah. And then 5 o'clock rolls around, and I'm like, okay, so I have crossed nothing off of my to-do list, but I had a very productive day. But
somehow didn't also at the same time.
Yeah. And now I'm kind of like, fuck, tomorrow I have to like back to the drawing board. I have to actually do what I've been dreading doing and what I wanted to do.
Then you're like, okay, gotta take more Adderall.
Or quit.
Something I've gotten into the habit of that's been really bad is that, and I did it this morning and it was kind of gorgeous, but I also know like it doesn't feel right when I do it, but it's like so good. Where, okay, so I set my alarm this morning for like 7 o'clock in the morning, right? And I wake up at 7 and I'm like, okay, I could get up. And then I'm like, but I don't really want to. Because Chris and I were going to have a meeting this morning. I texted you, like, I'm like, okay, let's not have our meeting. We'll talk about things later. And you're like, okay, sounds great. I go back to sleep until 7:30. 7:30 rolls around and I'm like, okay, I don't want to get up still. I reach over.
Like, I don't have that meeting with that dumb bitch.
Me in this bed. I reach over, grab my Adderall bottle off of my side table, pop one in, go back to sleep. And then like, what was it? 8:15, 8:30, 8:30 rolls around. I am flying. I whip the covers off of me. I'm like on my way to the kitchen.
Make the bed perfectly.
I'm making my coffee. I'm opening my blinds. Like literally like feet on the ground as soon as my eyes open, and I'm just zooming.
I would love to try that.
It's a really bad habit I've gotten into, but some days it's the only way I can get out of bed in the morning. And I
would love to try that, but I have trouble falling back asleep once I wake up. Like, I'm shaking with anxiety and I'm like looking at my phone and I'm having anxiety about all the things that I need to do. But I would maybe I'll do that one day. Maybe I'll try that this weekend.
But the key to success is keeping your Adderall on your bedside table. Like, it has to be right there.
It's always within an arm's reach.
Yes. Yeah.
That and Zofran.
Zofran's a really underrated medication. Like, Zofran is so good.
So good.
So good. No, but it's genuinely life-changing. The thing about me is regardless of the circumstances, I am a very good sleeper. Like, I will always be able to fall asleep, and I will sleep for a solid 8-9 hours straight. Like, that's never been a problem for me. But lately I've been like very sleep deprived because I've just been like go, go, go. And so that's why like last night I was like, okay, I need to go to sleep at a decent time and I need to get sleep, like a solid 8 hours of sleep at least. And I was like, but I have things to do in the morning and it's like kind of getting late already. And I'm like, okay, I'm putting the Adderall on the nightstand. We'll figure it out in the morning.
So this is premeditated.
So yeah. So because I usually don't keep it there because it's like obviously not visually appealing to have a pill bottle on your nightstand.
The top drawer, baby.
So yeah, then I woke up this morning and I was like, there's no way I can actually get myself out of bed on my own. I need help. Like, I need a little bit of assistance. And it carried me a long way. I had a gorgeous and productive day. I jumped out of bed, 2 feet on the ground right away. It was gorgeous.
Ready to go, ready to conquer the world. I'm like the complete opposite when it comes to sleeping, and like I have to be in a very comfortable bed with very comfortable pillows, and I need like 4 pillows around me, and I need the full setup. Like I need the white noise.
Yeah.
I need the pillows, and I'm very like specific about like I can't do like a down alternative pillow. I can't do like the pillows that are like hard and chunky. I have to have like a feather down pillow, comforter. So I can't sleep on a couch.
No, me
I
either.
cannot
Never
sleep
in a
on a
million years.
couch. I cannot
God
sleep.
forbid someone's sleeping on an airplane. I'm like, how do you do
I
that?
cannot sleep on
Imagine.
an airplane unless I take a pill.
Mm-hmm.
Um anyway, yeah, so I'm like a complete fucking brat when it comes to where I sleep and how I
Yeah.
sleep. I need to be like a little fatty pig in a blanket, wrapped up,
Mm-hmm.
ready to go.
That's how I am too, except for like I know people who like will be sleeping in their own bed on a regular night and like still have trouble sleeping. I've just never
Oh,
been that way. Like I'm like
okay,
I
I see
can't
what
sleep
you're
sitting
saying.
up, like I can't sleep on an airplane. I'm never sleeping in like a car
Okay,
or
then
anything
I'm
like
like
that.
you.
Yeah, but if I'm in my own bed, my lights are off, my curtains are
Like
drawn,
I'm
like
going.
noise machine is on, like I'm out
That's how I am.
and I will sleep the full 8
And I
hours
love that
and
about
like
me.
I can wake up and sometimes if I wake up and I like check my phone and I see something that's like got my mind going, I won't fall back asleep, but usually I can. And I went through a really bad breakup, as we all know, and that was the first time in my fucking life where I like never understood when people were like, I wasn't able to sleep, like I wasn't able to eat, blah, 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 blah. That was the first time in my life where something like that affected my sleep and I like wasn't sleeping, like staying up really late, waking up like really early for no reason. And I was so angry. I was like, my ability to sleep like a full 8 hours every night in my own bed has never, ever, 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 ever been an issue. And that's something I take a lot of pride in, especially because I know a lot of adults have problems sleeping. Like a lot of them, like I know a lot of people who only get like 3, 4 hours a night. And
My
I'm like, how
mom
do you
sleeps for like an
function?
hour.
That's
I'm like,
insane to
okay,
me.
girl.
That is insane to me.
Yeah.
It's
It's like my
terrifying.
biggest fear.
Yeah. And then anyway, so I went through this breakup and I like wasn't sleeping and I was so angry because I was like, this is the one thing I have had going for me my whole life. Like, and it's been beautiful. And like, this is just fucking it all up.
I feel like sometimes how many hours I get a night is like 4 hours, but that's
Mm-hmm.
like simply due to the fact that I do not have enough time in the day to like do certain things. And if I'm
Yeah.
trying to like maximize, like go to the gym in the morning, go to work and have a social life and like be productive and do other things, it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna go to bed at 2 a.m. and then wake back up and do it all over again.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate doing that
Mm-hmm.
because I do feel like sleeping is
Important.
absolutely fucking crucial. Also, what I wanted to say is when you were talking about Adderall, I just remembered this is going to sound really bad, but I wake up and I have to take 10 milligrams like right when I wake up. Like I have to
Mm-hmm.
pop it in half and take
Mm-hmm.
it. And lately that has been accompanied by a microdosing mushroom pill. And like I don't even feel like those do anything for me because I don't notice a difference if I microdose with mushroom. You know what we need to say? Hi guys, welcome to Hot and Bothered. It's been 10 minutes. I'm Chris Bruno,
I'm Cedar Champ, and on this podcast, we talk about everything that we find hot as fuck.
and everything that bothers the absolute fucking shit out of us.
We have no credentials,
We have minimal life
and
experience.
you should not take our advice on absolutely anything.
We haven't done that little bit in a minute. Also, go fucking subscribe on YouTube. We would
Okay,
love you.
yes, I had a friend recently tell me she was like, "Oh my god, I literally had no idea that you guys like posted like full length videos on YouTube. You can watch our full episode on YouTube."
Yeah, and you can look at our gorgeous little faces and our
Mm-hmm.
distorted bodies, and you can watch us in motion.
In real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so subscribe on YouTube. Go watch us there if you're a visual learner,
If
go
you're a visual
watch.
diva.
Otherwise, you can listen to us wherever you want to listen.
But you know what? Do
Um
whatever floats your boat, but go figure it out on YouTube because that would be a slay.
as we were, what were you saying about you have to take 10 right away in the
Oh,
morning?
microdosing.
Mm,
I recently came across a lump sum of microdosing mushroom pills.
the ones we were sent.
No other ones.
Other ones.
Yes. They're in my purse.
I need them.
There's like 6
I
left.
have
They
things to
don't do
say
anything. They
about
don't do
this.
anything. Because okay, so the thing is for me, if I have like I understand how chocolates work, the chocolate bars work and how like
Mhm.
it can be distributed unequally or it can be like if it's not held at a certain temperature, it dilutes or it gets redistributed and it fucks it all up whatever. I used to take mushroom chocolates like all the time and they wouldn't like I would take one and I would just like be whatever. 2 I would have like the giggles. 3 I would be like okay. 4 I'm talking about like little squares, like thumb
Mm-hmm.
size of my fingernail.
Yeah.
And lately, when I take a mushroom square, I was paralyzed in Vegas. Did I tell you about this?
No.
I was paralyzed.
What do you mean?
I couldn't walk. When I was in Vegas,
What brand were they?
my friend has a company and they make them and they're actually really, really fucking good. Like
Are they actual psilocybin? Is it actual psilocybin or is it like the
do
knockoff
you
kind?
think I read the ingredients?
Well, no, okay, because that's the thing. It's also something I've come to learn living in California is that there are a lot of places you can go to in LA and get like mushroom chocolates, but some of them are like a certain kind of like it's like an alternative psilocybin kind of where it's like chemically altered or whatever, so it's legal to sell. So some places sell strictly those because that's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Some I think kind of like hush hush sell actual psilocybin
And say that it's not.
and say that it's not. And so it's sometimes it can be really hard to tell cuz I think somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think psilocybin is still illegal in the state of California.
News to me, babe. We have to call
Mhm.
the FDA,
I
the
know.
CDC.
Mhm.
We have to call everyone and find out.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
The
I mean, if you
DEA, is
put,
that who does drugs?
I don't know, if
DEA?
you put
Yeah.
something in front of me and I know it's gonna fuck me up, I'm like, let's see where
Yeah.
it goes. Let's ride this. Let's ride this train and see where it takes me. But no, with microdosing, like, is it so? Because sometimes I've taken some before where I'm like, oh, like I know that this is it's activated, like I can feel a little something. But with the ones that I've been, maybe I've just grown a fucking tolerance.
Maybe.
But I don't want that.
One thing I do want to say though is Chris and I were sent some microdose capsules from a new brand that recently launched and we both like tried them out and I enjoyed them, but like I try to take them on days when I don't take my Adderall because I
Mm.
already know that if I take both at the same time I'm not going to feel the effects of the mushrooms cuz I'm going to be just rolling. And so like I saw something about I think they posted something on their Instagram about how like sometimes microdosing mushrooms can emulate similar effects to taking Adderall and it's better for your
Mm-hmm.
brain. And so that's also part of the reason why I like try not to take them on the same day. But I'm wondering if maybe that's your issue because you're trying to microdose and you're taking your Adderall at the same time.
I just need all of it.
I know.
I need all of it. I need all the stimulants. I need all the
But you're
uppers.
probably not like actually feeling the full effects of the
I don't want to feel
mushrooms.
anything.
But also that's the thing is like with a microdose, you're not really necessarily supposed to
Supposed
feel
to. Maybe
anything.
I'll try that. Maybe that's something that I'll do over this weekend.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I'm going to wake up, take my Adderall, fall back asleep. And on Sunday, I'm going to not
Mm-hmm.
take Adderall and I'm going to microdose and
Love it.
see where it takes me.
I love that. Also happy Halloween.
Fucking boo.
Happy
Girls, happy
Halloween,
Halloween.
girls. Chris and I debated doing a little Halloween special kind of situation, but we've already talked about all of our ghost stories. We've already shared all of that. I have
Mm-hmm.
some stuff because you guys all know I experienced a loss recently. I went so far as to hire a medium who doesn't have an appointment for me until November 26th. So I can't even like talk about any of that in reference to like Halloween and connecting with the afterlife or whatever goes on
Wait,
over
when is the
there
appointment?
with a medium.
When?
Oh, November 26th.
For some reason, I thought we were like in June.
Yeah, no, it's October.
Yeah,
It's the end of October. It's Halloween.
that's right.
Yep. Yeah.
That's right. Maybe the microdosing is working, girls. Maybe it's working.
So anyway, there's not gonna be spooky content, unfortunately, because that'll just come as it comes. Because as you guys know, this shit is so unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
So happy fucking Halloween. I hope everybody's dressing like sluts. I hope you have fun Halloween plans. But Chris was telling me earlier that Halloween is one of those holidays where
I don't
it's
know. Halloween again is one of those. We talked about this last week, or when was this? A couple weeks ago.
a few weeks
A
ago.
few weeks ago. Like 4th of July, New Year's Eve, Halloween. It's kind of an overwhelming holiday where I can never pinpoint down exactly what I'm trying to do, and then I just kind of freeze with anxiety because I'm like, oh, there's so much to do, and then
You don't do anything.
I don't do anything, and then Halloween is on a Tuesday or Wednesday?
Halloween is on a Thursday this year.
Oh, okay.
Which wait, actually that's another bone I have to pick with this holiday specifically. I for some reason, I don't know if it's just because I'm not cool or like what the fucking situation is, but I don't ever get the memo on what weekend we're celebrating Halloween. So like when Halloween falls on
I have a
like
lot to say
during a
about this.
weekday, if it's not a Friday, like if it falls on a Friday, I know that we're celebrating Halloween like that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But this year it falls on a Thursday. So I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. We're celebrating Halloween Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday. And then come to find out after being invited out to a few things, I'm realizing that people are actually
Yeah.
celebrating Halloween the weekend prior to actual Halloween. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I
Who makes these
I have no
rules?
idea because I was under the assumption that everybody was doing Halloween this weekend.
And that's what's happening. So your assumption was correct and mine was wrong.
But then now I also have anxiety that I'm like, am I gonna have to celebrate 2 weekends of? I know people who have been celebrating Halloween for the past 2 weeks, basically all month, and
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, that's a lot of effort. Like
I don't have that many
I don't have that
costumes.
many costumes. I don't have the mental creativity or bandwidth to come up with multiple costumes. Like I'm a
Yeah.
one and done kind of bitch. Last year, I was a hillbilly and I put on a
Mhm.
wig and I put some black on my tooth
Mhm.
and like ran over a pair of shorts
Mhm.
and wore a flannel and it was a hot outfit. It was
Yeah.
hot.
But it was one. But it was one
Yeah,
outfit. It
but I'm
was
like I
one.
can just do one thing.
Yeah. That's also another thing too that gets really tricky when celebrating Halloween, not on actual Halloween, is that like you go to a party, you have fun, you have a fun little Halloween party, and then people want to go somewhere else after. So you go to like a bar or club or like you go wherever you go, and
And
then
it's like
like
half are
there's
dressed up.
yes, there's like
Yeah.
normal people there that are like just celebrating a regular Saturday night, and it's just like it's so uncomfortable. Like it's so
I've been in that
uncomfortable.
position before.
I also met a diva last night who told me that he and his boyfriend were thinking about doing a Halloween outfit that was going to be Lana Del Rey and her alligator
It's really
husband.
good.
And I was thinking about your costume last year, and I share a birthday with Lana Del Rey. And I'm like, that's our couple's costume.
That would be good.
Chris and I aren't doing anything together at all for Halloween, but if we
I don't
were
even know if I'm
to,
doing anything for Halloween. I don't have anything and I don't have anything
mm-hmm,
ready to go. I haven't even
mm-hmm.
thought about it.
I have something I'm going to be in attendance of, but I have not a single piece for the costume that I aspire to pull off. And I have approximately 2 more days to figure it out. So I really don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to try.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah. But that's also the problem too. Like I don't ever want to be seen in like a
In like
cheapy,
in
gross
like a costume
costume. Yeah.
costume.
Like
But
I don't want
honestly,
this
I'm
to
just
look
saying that
like
because you can order anything off Amazon.
I know. I know, but this specific costume, it's like I actually need to go to
Should
like
we let them know that Amazon is sponsoring us?
this would probably be a good time for us to let them
I'm
know.
kidding, you guys. What were you saying?
This specific costume, the pieces that I need for it, I need to go like full couture. Like I
You need
it's
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
Versace archive
I
dress
did
and some Manolo
order a
Blahniks.
wig from Amazon today, but the rest of it I'm gonna have to figure out because I can't. I looked on Amazon and it's not happening. It's just not, you know.
Then yeah, we'll talk about that later. I can give you some advice in that department.
Thank you so
Some
much because I'm gonna need
keywords.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else should we talk about?
Anyway, do we have enough time? Do we want to talk about HRH?
We can talk about her later.
Okay.
People are
Gorge.
asking us if we like HRH, and it's kind of like we'll get there when we get there.
Well we're here, so should we talk about it?
No, I wanna give them something to sit on and think.
Okay.
I wanna
Okay.
I wanna give them
Because
some blue balls.
we've talked about HRH before, um, and I don't even remember exactly what we said, but our position maybe still stands, but probably not. But anyway, we'll address it later. So, are you hot or are you bothered this week, Chris?
Um, am I hot or am I bothered? You know what? I'm hot.
Of
I'm hot.
course,
Why
of
not? I'm
course.
always hot. I'm hot. So I wanted to chat about imposter syndrome
Love.
today. Okay, so recently it's come to my attention. So I always thought that imposter syndrome, from my experience, was like someone who emulates or tries to convince someone that they're like more than what they are.
Mm.
But I think that like the textbook definition is when you think that you're less.
I actually don't know what the textbook definition is. My experience with it has always been the opposite. Should we Google?
Let's Google it. Okay, imposter syndrome or imposter phenomenon is a psychological experience of doubting one's skills and accomplishments despite evidence to the contrary.
Oh, okay. So yours was
So my topic
inaccurate.
so my topic isn't so I can't talk about it anymore. Okay, moving on. So, you know what? We're going to look at imposter syndrome as both as someone who thinks that they are more than what they are, or you know what, as I like to call it, just a form of manifestation, because that's really what it is at the end of the day. Or okay, someone who doubts what they're actually capable of and what they've accomplished.
Right.
Anyway, so after I graduated college and I was like acclimating to being an adult and living in society and like identifying as a certain person in a certain career, I would meet a lot of people and they would be like, "Oh, I'm a director, I'm a photographer, I'm an artist, I'm what else is like a creative like freelance thing?
An actor.
An actor, anything like that." So I was like, "Okay, sweet. Like cool. Everyone that I'm meeting is like in LA and like does the thing and everyone is like cool." And then like come to find out like okay, you would be like, you know, a waiter, or you would be a like everyone has a day job. Like I'm
Yeah.
a teacher, but like, you know what I mean? Like everyone has a day job. So I'd be like, I would be confused and it was giving me like trust issues because I would meet all these people and they'd be like, "Yeah, like I'm a director, I'm like filming this and blah blah blah." I'd be like, "Oh my god, like that's," but like obviously they still are. But then like me with my like old way of thinking, I'd be like, "No, you're not. Like your day job is a teacher, so you're a
You're a
teacher.
teacher,
Like
yeah.
you're lying to me. Like you can't be both." So then I remember going through this like interesting cycle of being like, should I be identifying as something that I'm not? Like
Right.
should I have some kind of aspiration or have some kind of like, you know, goal that I'm looking for, or you know, whatever the fuck it may be. But I kind of was like, everybody in LA has two things going on,
Yeah.
and they always identify with like the aspirational one of it. Like once I kind of got over like the trust issue of it on my end, I was like, okay, now I can appreciate this. Like at first I remember having a conversation with my friend and she was like, "Yeah, that's what everyone in LA does. Like they just like lie about it until it becomes real. Like it's just what everybody does."
Yeah.
And I was like, that pisses me off. Like that's not like how it should be. And then as I like started to accept people for who they are and what they wanted to be, I sound like an asshole. Like I'm like, people can have aspirations and dreams, but like it was confusing for
I don't
me.
think that that's abnormal
What?
to like assume that people should identify like as their day job and not like their side hustle or
Well,
whatever.
correct, but don't get me wrong. During that process, there was a lot of people who were definitely fabricating a lot.
Yeah. But that's what people in LA do.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And now that like I mean, that was like what, not 10 years ago. Oh my God, I'm not going to age myself, you guys. Maybe like 7 years ago, like 6, 7, 8 years ago. But now as I'm getting old, like I had a vision of what imposter syndrome was. And I was just like, everyone's a liar. Everyone's faking who they want to be. Everyone's like trying to be somebody, which we all are, obviously, or me and Cedar wouldn't be here right now. Let's be fucking honest. Anyway, so I was like, do I have imposter syndrome? Like, is there something that I'm doing wrong? Like, am I a loser for being like, oh, I work at a PR agency? Should I be like, oh, like I'm a public, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, how can I
Yeah.
fabricate what I'm doing to make it sound cooler? Never did that. Never gave two fucks. But now that I have somewhat of an established career, I can't even say it because now I have imposter, like
Yeah.
now
The
I have like
actual
true
version,
imposter
yeah.
syndrome where I'm like, okay, like I'm still like don't know how to tell people exactly what I do because I can't acknowledge like my achievements and
Right.
what I've done. And it's just such an interesting dynamic that I feel like everybody can identify either in one category or another. And I don't think either is right or either is wrong, but it's just, okay, let me just fucking land the plane. At the end of the day, if you tell me what you do for a living, I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
Like I'm just going to fucking take it with a grain of salt and I'm going to be like, you could be a stripper and you could tell me that you are a you're a pilot, an airplane pilot. Like, I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, if you tell me anything, I'm just like, babe, I love that. Good for you.
Right.
But I remember, like, when I first got out of college and I was like trying so hard to like make money and to like be an adult, and I was just like, everyone's lying to me, like someone help me. And now I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, and I still don't even have like a proper identity of what I do for a living.
Okay, that concept is like kind of similar to what we talked about last week, how like everything's real and not real at the same time.
Correct. Yeah.
And like that, like the identifying like your career in LA, it's like it's the same thing. Everything is real and not real at the same time. Like you could be like a really, really successful influencer and you could
Mm-hmm.
also work at Wendy's. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's very much like whatever.
But that's
But
just like how people in LA are. It's like you
yeah,
could be literally, I could be sitting next to like a executive of a fucking of Paramount, and he could tell me that, and I would be like, nice, man, you like probably like live in your mom's basement, until I like
he's the
do
one
the
delivering the coffees. Like
yeah,
he's the assistant. Like
exactly.
yeah. He's the
You know what
intern.
I mean? It's a lot of that. And
Yeah.
I'm just like I'm just like, I don't give a fuck what people think that I do for work. It's none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
You're probably not going to believe me. So why am I going to waste my energy on telling you what the fuck I do? I
Absolutely.
don't have a job outside of creating a podcast, by the way. In case you were wondering.
I have actually a lot to say on the
I
topic of
have so much
imposter
to say about
syndrome.
all of this.
Yeah, I have like a lot, but one thing I do want to say is that first and foremost, I didn't encounter the term imposter syndrome until it became popular recently, and so
Mm-hmm.
like I've always had this singular perception of it of like you not basically realizing your worth or like whatever in comparison to like how others perceive you or how like or what title you hold or like whatever the case is. And so I've always identified imposter syndrome in that way, and I do very much recognize it in myself, and every time like I prove to myself that I'm definitely experiencing imposter syndrome, I'm like, "Oh fuck." But another thing, and maybe I'll touch more on that in a little bit if there's time, but another thing I want to include is that the concept of people identifying themselves as their side hustle or their creative project or whatever outside of their 9 to 5 is like so foreign to me, because
Mm-hmm.
even with like Hot and Bothered and even with the like success of this podcast and even like as we've grown, I still like when people ask me if I'm out at a party and someone asks me what I do for a living, like I tell them what my day job is. And like I've had this experience multiple times where I've been having a conversation with somebody, they ask what I do for a living, I share with them what my day job is, and I'll be standing next to a friend and my friend will pipe in and be like, and she also has a podcast.
That happens to me all the fucking time. All the time.
But I'm like, I don't want to be that person that opens up with, yeah, I have a podcast.
Yeah, like no, that's embarrassing. I don't want to know.
I
I
mean, and
don't
it's
want to
like
know.
it is, but it also isn't. But I feel like that's just like part of our like that it is imposter syndrome. Like we have a podcast, we have
This
a
is actually
successful
textbook imposter syndrome. Also,
exactly.
really quickly, if there is a term or a definition for the opposite of what imposter syndrome is that I thought imposter syndrome was, please let me know.
Yeah,
Please
because
let me
even
know.
Chris and I, when we were like talking a little bit about this previously, and I was like, maybe there is two ways to look at imposter syndrome. I actually don't know the actual definition of imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
but then we Googled it, obviously just now, and this is the first time I'm learning that like
Mm-hmm.
the opposite is actually what imposter syndrome
Mm-hmm.
is. And I've experienced imposter syndrome a lot, mostly in well, a little bit as we just discussed in the
The
development of
workforce.
Hot and Bothered.
Oh.
Like we're obviously experiencing that now, but in my actual 9 to 5 I've
Mm-hmm.
experienced a lot of imposter syndrome,
I guess
and
we're just imposters.
we are.
Yeah.
But even like in interviewing for the position that I have now, I remember like my, and this isn't abnormal, I mean I've done a million interviews in my day, but I remember like when interviewing for this position, my manager was like, she genuinely seemed so stoked on me, and like she like really thought that I like had a lot going for me and could provide a lot of value in this position. And I remember thinking to myself like, wow, like whatever I said in the interview, I must be a really good interviewer. You know what I'm saying? Or
You're
like
like, or
I
maybe I
really fooled,
actually am fucking
no,
qualified
I'm
and
like
know what I'm
I must
doing.
have really fooled her. Like I
Yeah.
must have really fooled
Like I pulled
her.
a fast one on this
Yeah,
bitch. Yeah.
exactly. And like at the end of the day, I'm actually like really fucking good at my job, and I really have a hard time admitting that to myself.
1,000%. And I think that like a lot of people can relate to that. And I think that this mindset is so transferable in so many different categories. Like dating, for
Mm.
example, it's like No, he's actually in love with you because like you know what I
Because you're great and you have
like
everything going for
exactly.
you.
Like
Yeah.
he's actually in love with you because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But
Which
the same thing.
unfortunately that's usually not true, but you know.
You know what, you guys? Just we're manifesting. We're doing the
We're
opposite of having imposter
manifesting.
syndrome. It doesn't matter. Nothing fucking matters. But yeah, we have imposter syndrome.
We have major imposter syndrome and
Do
I
we?
need to like practice. I need to make an active effort and practice like when I'm out in public and people ask what I'm doing, what I do for a
Yeah.
living. But it's also like obviously like my primary source of income is my 9 to 5. So it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't that be what I would identify with? And I mean until this podcast is making me the same amount, then like I don't know, maybe it comes down to like what your income is or like maybe it's
It's
about
different for everyone.
where you spend the most of your time.
Or what your or where your mind is, where you spend most of
Yeah,
the time mentally.
maybe
Where do you spend most of your time mentally?
this.
Okay, so you're a podcaster.
I'm a
You're
podcaster.
a podcast diva. I don't know what's going on in here. I couldn't
Mm-mm.
tell you
I don't
what I
even want to
spend my
think about
time.
that.
I spend my I actually we're not I'm not.
Spend your time thinking about food, as do I. It's
No, I don't.
my first thought is food. My second thought is hot and bothered. My third thought is maybe my actual career.
I think I just actually daydream all day long.
Yeah.
Like I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
I think that I just sit and I just like subconsciously manifest and think about things that I want and then it
And
happens.
I love that. And that's how it should be.
I live a really beautiful and easy life, you guys.
Absolutely. We've never
um
faced a challenge or hardship in our lives.
uh
There was one more thing I was going to say on the topic of imposter syndrome and I don't remember what it was. Um oh,
what?
two things. No, I'm not going to say the first thing. Another thing I wanted to throw in was that I was actually exposed big time. Last night I had to attend an event for work and I show up popping around, say
Being
hi to this
being a corporate
person,
diva,
being a corporate girl.
wearing a facade.
Mm-hmm. And I say hi to this person who I've met once before that I work with. Not directly, not within the company, at like a third party kind of situation,
Mhm.
right? And the first thing she says to me is, "You have a podcast, right?"
I would drop my bags and run out the door if someone told me that. Actually, no, I wouldn't give a fuck.
No, my stomach fell out of my asshole.
Okay.
And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh my god, I see you guys all the time on my TikTok." And I was like, I literally said to her, I was like, "This is my worst nightmare coming true right now." And she was like, "No, no, no, like it's so good. Like everything I've seen so far I've really loved and blah 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 blah." And that was great. The interaction itself was
Uh-huh.
really great and positive, but I was terrified because I was like, I don't want one or the other to define me in any way. Like
Mhm.
I don't want Hot and Bothered to interact with this side of me, the corporate girl, and I don't want the corporate girl to interact with Hot and Bothered. And like it was so scary and terrifying
Like
watching
it
the
was like
worlds
two
cross.
trains
Yes, like
colliding.
me living my Hannah Montana moment.
Yes,
Like I was
yes,
like
yes. You're like fuck,
fully
they know.
I was Miley Cyrus being exposed as Hannah Montana
I
and I
love
was
that.
shitting my fucking pants and it was
Uh-huh.
really positive, but it was still just like, oh, oh, like that's not happened yet. I've not had to watch my like life outside of my 9 to 5 interact in the 9 to 5 realm, and it was very scary, but that was also like a very fresh reminder of the fact that like a
That
little
you're
bit of
living a double
imposter
life.
syndrome, a
Yeah.
little bit of imposter syndrome. But yeah, no, that it was terrifying.
I kind of am loving the fact that you're like battling this hurdle after I have. Like it's
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, do
so
you need some
true.
advice, babe? Do you need some advice? I was one time
That's so
like
true.
now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm like, if you don't like what I have to say, I don't want to work with you. You're fucking weird. Like I
Yeah,
do not care.
but
But
it's
what?
also a little different for you because you have a boss that like also is just
Well,
psychotic.
when I correct, like the most unhinged human being in the world. But when I was in my other office, like a few months ago, maybe I told you this. They were like, there was like a group of people that were like, oh, like we want to start like a real estate podcast, and like someone said podcast, and I was like, looked down at my computer, like put my glasses on, like I was like put my headphones in.
You're like, I've
I'm
never.
like,
What is a podcast? I've
I'm like,
never heard of
I'm like, I
that.
have to go. I have an appointment. I have a showing, you guys. I can't do this right now. Of course, everyone's like, Chris has a podcast. Chris has a podcast. Oh my god, you have a podcast? And I was like, I'm just gonna airplay it to the whole fucking office. Like, I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. I was like, the secret's out. I was like, now you guys know like who I've been fucking, like who, like all my dirty secrets. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Actually, it's kind of fun. Who
Absolutely. It
cares?
is. It is
Nothing
kind of fun.
matters.
Nothing really does matter. And especially in LA where we're all like, because in the same breath, like 30 minutes after I had that initial conversation, I was talking with a completely different person. And we were talking about microdosing mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about like pussy power in her words. Like we were talking about all this
The
stuff. And I'm
same
like,
girl that was talking
different
about
girl.
the podcast. Oh,
Different girl. And I'm like, actually, at the end of the day, like, especially in Los Angeles, like, everyone is doing like a little extra something.
mm-hmm.
So, like, a lot of people really don't care. There is still like a certain element of like a weird corporate mindset in this city. But like, a lot of people are like very much like toting the line in between
Mm-hmm.
both. And so
And
it just works.
that's something that I've been very like conscious of lately, that like my mindset has shifted so much on within the past like month or two. Honestly, I'm just like, I don't need to be a buttoned up bitch. Like I can do
Mm-hmm.
everything. I can be multiple different people while still being myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's kind of empowering.
It is kind of empowering. Like, we can do a lot of
We
things.
can do literally anything we want. And I'm
Yeah.
like, maybe the mushrooms are working today, you
I
guys.
think the
The
mushrooms are
mushrooms are working.
working. The
Okay, we're
mushrooms are
gonna take
really
a quick
working.
break because I'm gonna charge the vape.
Thank God.
So I'm gonna ask Cedar why she's hot or bothered, but that's not really important right now. We just ordered Chick-fil-A.
We took an intermission to charge the vape and
And then I
drink
was like,
our wine
I'm
and order
so
Chick-fil-A.
hungry. And then I saw a group chat. My dad sent a picture of a Chick-fil-A salad, and I was like, bitch. Okay, the girls need to know. I need to know. The world needs to know. Cedar Champ, are you hot or are you bothered?
I'm so hot this week.
Oh, period.
Yeah, I'm really hot this week because I'm choosing the high road for once in my life. I'm choosing to be a good person. I'm choosing not to be toxic, and I'm choosing
What happened?
I'll tell you what happened. Okay, so this happened a while ago, but there was a recent interaction that like jogged my memory on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So my ex-boyfriend that I always talk about, have always talked about, probably will always talk about, is seeing somebody new. And I didn't really talk about it a lot because I'm like, I
You're
don't know if it's serious. Like, I don't
You
know.
just don't want to speak it into existence.
No, and I'm also like, I just like I can't take it serious. Like, I
Yeah.
can't. Like,
You're like,
I just
well, he's marrying me, so like, it
no,
doesn't
I'm
matter.
like, at the end of the day, that is my future husband. So whatever he's doing right now while we're not together, like, that's
It's
not
not
a
your
problem.
business.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, have your fun, but like, I'll see you at the altar.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So anyway, I've told like people about it, but I don't talk about it a lot because it's like, first of all, it doesn't really affect me that much because like I have a life.
They live in different countries.
Mm-hmm. And
Or you from you.
yes,
From us.
we live in
Yeah.
we live in different countries.
You and your husband live in different
Me and my
countries.
husband live in different countries. And it's just like not relevant or necessary to talk about. But the other day I was catching up with a friend that I haven't seen in a while. And we talk a lot over like text and we send voice notes and whatever. So I have no fucking idea what I've told her and what I haven't, because any conversation I have with somebody over text or voice notes is like not real.
Mm-hmm.
Like anything you see on social media or on my Snapchat, like to the best of my knowledge, I've never told you this information. So we're catching up and I was like, yeah. Like I told you, like he's like got a girlfriend now. And she was like, what? No, you haven't told me that. And I was like, yeah. Like, yeah, he's like fully dating somebody. And I also didn't talk about it a lot. As I said, like I assumed the relationship's just casual, and it might be, but like it's been a minute now. And so it's probably not. But anyway, so she's like, I need to see. So I'm showing the Instagram and I keep my mouth shut because it's a low blow to drag my ex's new girlfriend based on anything that
No.
I can observe on the internet. As we all know, if I'm anything, I'm a feminist first. Like, that is where my priorities and standards lie. And I've also been the girl before. Like, I've been the new girlfriend before. So, like, I don't want people talking about me that way. So I'm like trying to be the bigger person, whatever. My friend is like, I need to see her. So I show her the Instagram and I keep my mouth shut. I'm just trying to choose a high road and I'm not saying anything, but like, fuck. It feels so good sometimes
To not say it. To not
no,
say
to
it.
say it.
Oh.
To say it. And like, I haven't been able to bring myself to like say it.
Uh-huh.
But I realize, like, as I've been going through this where I've like shown people and they get to say it, it feels really good to hear because
That's
I'm
what
like,
I meant.
obviously,
It's like,
yeah.
It feels good to hear them say it and to not have
Yeah.
to be the one to say it.
Yes,
You're
because,
like,
like,
okay, I'm still the bigger person,
it
but
would-
like you got it
yes.
out for me. Like by proxy, you alleviated this for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much for doing my dirty work.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it's also a given. It's a standard. It's an expectation that I would be the one like dragging this person. So for other people to be doing it on my behalf, it feels really nice. But anyway, I'm basically I'm hot this week because I'm choosing the high road, but I'm also still getting like the satisfaction I need based on like how horrible my friends are, and I love you all for it. Like, thank you so much. But it's a weird predicament to be in. But I'm just like, I've said this to a million people at this point, but I'm like, she's not done anything wrong and she's probably a great person. And it's not her fault that she's dating my future husband. Like, it's not her fault.
We have all been in that situation before. Like we have all been the new girlfriend, the new boyfriend.
We've all been the ex.
We've all been the ex. Honestly, being the ex is like the vibe. Like being the ex is like, I mean, we've talked about like being the divorcee, but like being the ex is like, oh yeah, that's his ex. It's like, God, if I had a penny, like, you know
Literally.
what I mean? Like, damn.
Ugh, it feels so good. Wait,
Being
now
the
that
ex
we're,
is
since we're talking about
like
this
hot.
right now, I know.
Like, damn, that's your ex. Like, yeah, bitch.
I know.
Yeah.
And we've also always all been in the position where we're like, this is their ex. And like, you hold that ex. And we kind of talked about this 2 weeks ago where like, I'm like really good friends with my ex's ex. And her and I both looked at each other from that perspective of like, fuck, that's his ex.
Yeah.
And being in that position feels horrible. Being the ex has its pros and cons. But like, we've all been in all the positions. But like, it is kind of a flex. It is kind of a fucking flex. And then to also try to be the ex that's like the ex, but like taking the high road, I'm like, literally, I'm better than everybody. I'm better than everybody.
What was your perception of his ex before you?
The perception there was she has to be really cool. Like, she's probably and has to be like really cool.
So you kind of admired her.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, if he likes her, then that person must have had something cool. Yeah.
But I'm also like, this was in the moment when I was in a relationship with this person, and I'm like, I know what's going on here, and like nothing is ever topping this, so like that's fine. And then so looking at the new girlfriend, I'm like, I wonder what they talk about.
Yeah, that's always interesting.
I'm just kind of like, because I know where I am, I know where I stand, and I know where our relationship stands in terms of like the severity of the dynamic in the relationship. And I'm like, there's no topping that. There just isn't. There like literally isn't. So I hope they make each other laugh.
I love that. I hope they do too. I hope there's something that's happening between them.
Otherwise it would just be really sad.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would just be really sad.
Yeah.
You know what? Like maybe there's something there. Maybe they have great conversations. Maybe they laugh about a lot of things. Like, I'm sure that there's a lot of like substance there, and I'm just choosing to run with that. And like, I'm so glad you guys are happy. But like, I'll see you at the altar.
I'm thinking about myself.
Tell me.
Entire time.
Tell me.
And sometimes I feel like, you know, I'm not a very deep thinker unless like someone pulls shit out of me.
Yes.
And sometimes I think that like my surface level thoughts are actually just really deep thoughts. Like they are Like what I'm about to tell you, I feel like is surface level for me, but you could dive really deep down and still get the same fucking answer. But like
Mm-hmm.
if I were to analyze my boyfriend or my someone I'm dating or whatever, like their exes, I wouldn't because I'm just like I don't care
Yeah.
because they're not me and I would rather be me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm like
And I usually try, like, I make an active effort to not, like, even entertain the idea of their ex. Like, I usually don't stalk until I'm, like,
no, yeah.
really curious. So, like,
Yeah.
this
Unless you have
person,
a reason to be curious.
and this person specifically, like, I had known this person for months,
Mhm.
and we were, like, a month or two into our relationship, like, actual relationship, like, defined relationship, before I even decided to explore who
Mhm.
their ex was. That's also part of that element of, like, that kind of doesn't matter because they're not me. But it's also like sometimes like curiosity really does fucking kill the cat. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. I'm not saying that in like a cocky way. I'm just saying like
No. And who cares
no,
regardless of?
I'm not like that kind of like
No,
I'm
we
not
know.
really like a confident
Well, do you
person
hear the
that
conversation that we're having right now? Like, I'm like literally saying like this bitch ain't me. And like,
period.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay. So
but
like,
no, I'm just like if I were to really analyze whoever this person is, but when I do that with anyone, I'm like, okay, I would rather be me. Like
yeah,
I'm like I would
1000%.
rather be me. Like it's
Absolutely
fine.
1000%. And I feel like that's why I feel the way that I do right now in this situation where I'm not like, oh my God, like he's dating somebody new.
Well,
I'm
we
like, well,
know
but
it's not
I'm
gonna
me.
last. We know it's not gonna last. We know that there's things that are non-negotiable.
We don't know that.
We do.
What's non negotiable? Our impending wedding? Like, what's non
Correct.
negotiable? Ugh.
We'll keep you in the loop, girls.
We have bigger fish to fry
I
anyway.
have a salad to eat and a milkshake to swallow.
So anyway, we love you. Also, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Instagram, give us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening on. And what's their homework this week, Chris Bruno?
To take Adderall right when you wake up and then fall back asleep.
And then
Um,
literally jump out of bed like you have
and conquer the world.
springs for shins. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then also conquer your imposter syndrome. Tell yourself you're worthy, you're capable.
Yeah.
You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Also, don't believe anything that anyone tells you about their career.
1000%.
Don't.
And uplift your ex's new girlfriend
Or boyfriend.
or boyfriend.
Because they're not you, babe.
They're not you, but we don't need to shade them either. And let your
Mm-hmm.
friends do the shading for you.
Let all your friends do the dirty work.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Everybody have a beautiful, beautiful
Halloween.
Halloween. We love you so much, and we'll see you next fucking Tuesday.
Love you.